at Scaling New Heights. So Appy Hour and Scaling New Heights are reuniting.
We are so this is our second annual broadcast for Scaling New Heights for the Happy Hour. This is so exciting.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, Geni. Wow. Session today.
Thank you. Wasn't it just brilliant?
It was amazing.
I think it's a message that our pro advisors really need to hear.
I think so too. I love the conversation this morning about making that human connection and that they need us as people, like automating processes. I'm all about the automation, but it is the relationship that brings the value to the client.
So let's back it up for those that didn't get to hear it.
Yes.
So the main stage today, Geni was talking about, she shared quick grits with us. Quick grits. So the inspiration for quick grits came from what?
My life came from people eating lousy quick grits. The instant grits you buy in Quaker box, and they're like 25 packages for $2. You can get freeze-dried bacon added and freeze-dried cheese already in your packet. And those are not grits, y'all. They're terrible. But if you're going for the low end of the market and you're focused on cost cutting, that's what you deliver as a service provider. Versus the high-end restaurant in Yountville, which is Napa Valley, that serves polenta under glass, y'all, for $15. So which one do we want to be as service providers? And how do we move from the quick grits competition by price to the high-end polenta competing on value? And that's what my message was about.
So you shared this video about polenta. So I did not know what polenta was before today.
Nobody does.
It was an unveiling of something that I had never tried, and now it's on my bucket list. So polenta is like a grit that is
polenta is just grits. No, it's the same thing. It's the same damn thing. That's the whole point.
So is it, Geni? So it's like you say grits, I say polenta, or you something like that.
Yeah, I say grits. I charge $2 at a Waffle House. And you go to Bottega, a restaurant in Yountville and Napa, and you pay $15 for polenta.
That's
the
amazing.
People in California don't know they're the same, so I keep bursting their bubble all over California. And I ask people, do you like grits? No, we don't like grits. Well, you're eating polenta. Do you like that? Yeah. And I go, guess what? Those are grits. You're eating them. You like grits. And they're really disappointed and depressed because they didn't know that's what they were eating.
Are. And those people who are taking home, and having their quick grits at home.
Oh, they're not eating grits.
They're not satisfied.
They're not from the South. Yeah, they don't know the real thing.
I have to.
I'm settling.
I know. I shouldn't say this on on Facebook Live. I love grits, and I love instant grits.
If you're camping and it's all you can do,
I know,
we'll let you get by.
Lots of butter, cheese,
yeah,
salt and pepper, and Tabasco.
Yeah, that's good. We'll let you get away with that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And if you're camping, the instant is
covering it up a little bit.
Yeah,
well, a little bit.
It's enhancing.
It's enhancing. Yeah,
we'll let her get away.
I feel like grits are polenta. They're kind of a canvas, right?
They are.
So they're like a canvas because they're not. There's not much taste to them by themselves.
That's what the salt's all about, Heather.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And the butter. You put a
add
thing of butter.
You add the
stuff to go.
You pulled, talking about grits and where you started, you pulled in the grits example to say, yes, you have your instant grits, but then you have your polenta. And if you're really looking for polenta and you settle for the quick grits, it might just get you by for a little while, but it's not satisfying. So you end up needing more. And so the point that carries over to is our apps. It's our service offering.
Well, what I was
for developers.
Well, the message was really about that when we automate so much of our practice, as accountants, we tend to look for efficiencies. And those are cost-cutting measures that we take. And it's the other side of the equation that we miss, which is increasing the value. And so it takes both of those to improve the bottom line, we know as accountants. But we spend our time over here cutting costs and driving more volume through the business. When what we need to do is both, but also elevate the value side of that equation. And we do that by going from the quick grits focus to this value. How can we tell our story in a way that puts us in a different category from all those run-of-the-mill bookkeepers who are instant grit? How do we become the polenta in a glass? And we're willing to pay $15. Go online and look up polenta under glass, and you will see all the write-ups about how much they love the grits in a jar, y'all. And it works.
So, so one of the things that it's like my head loves, and it your message just really rung true to me. So one of the things that we want to do is we don't want to be that type of accountant who holds on to the books.
Right.
We want to put it in the glass jar. We want it to be transparent. We want our clients to be hungry and to be satisfied and to have something that they walk away being fully satisfied with, having the full picture, full service, and having that white glove service that you were talking about means uncovering it, sharing them with our details.
Making it so, it's all about the experience we build around the services that we provide, which is what this restaurant does so well. From the moment you arrive to the moment you leave, it's a high-end experience. You feel taken care of. And that is our job as high-valued providers of service, is to make that customer, that client, feel like we're doing something exceptional for them. And it's not about the back end stuff that they don't even see. It's about how do we make this relevant to the business issues that they're facing? And that's where the magic happens.
So it's focusing on the outcomes rather than the process. So
and yes, automate all the stuff so that we can have more time to have conversations, but don't just do that and stop. Don't get it all tied out and reconciled and balanced, and don't even send them a report or tell them, here's what we see and here's what you need to do with this. Don't just say, here's your financial statement done.
Right.
Let's talk about what we need to do based on what I'm seeing here and what we can do next week instead of what we did last year.
So I have a question. So a lot of, a lot of accounting professionals and bookkeepers are just getting started on this journey to advisory services and actually bringing their practice to the next level from transactional accounting to being that strategic advisor, right? So what advice would you give them to get started on that? What resources do you know about it? How do they do that? How do they make that transformation?
All of my training came from Mentor Plus, a company called mentorplus.com. And I discovered it after I left a CPA firm as a partner, unsatisfied with my ability to serve my clients' needs. Doing taxes, you don't get to have much of an impact. You get the IRS off their back.
They don't say, I love you.
They don't say, I love you. They're not excited.
They don't.
So I discovered that through technology. I had a technology that worked, but that methodology is what we use with our winery clients. But it starts with a mental shift. That is the hardest part. I just met some folks who've heard what I said, and they said, I can't get there. And I said, well, you just think differently, but you've got to have a clear desire to do so. But if you will shift from, I want them to know how smart I am, and my mission in this meeting is to download all of my massive intelligence, to, I want to make this customer feel smart, this client feel smart. And when you shift to that perspective, everything you do is, let's implement this, but how does it impact my client? And if you will do that, it will come. So put them in the center of the work that we do, not the services that we have over here and all the software and all the apps that we want to play with. Put them first and say, what is it you need? What are you struggling with? What pain are you facing day in and day out? And then find a way to help them. And it may not be something you yourself do. You might connect them with somebody else.
I love that. I love that. And I think that, being part of a mentorship group, an accountability group, and really collaborating with your peers and finding peers that complement your skill set is the way to lift yourself up. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. And I also want to ask, what you're doing this with your clients. And as you're doing this, what kind of experience are you having with them? What kind of response?
It's unbelievable. I go into a bar, a tasting room, and a winery, and they're like, Geni, you're that nerd. You showed us how to do stuff. It's like, I'm a big hero. That never happened when I was doing taxes, y'all. I never walk into a client and go, yeah, Geni's here.
So it's part of their team.
But I'm part of the team. I train them on how to improve their selling results. I show them metrics and models, and I say, sell one more bottle of wine each person, and here's the impact on revenue. And now the tasting room folks are empowered to drive the financial results, and they understand the numbers in a way they never did before. So it's a totally life-changing thing for them, but for us to be welcomed and to know that you've helped somebody. That's why we're doing this.
We're working so hard behind the scenes that they don't know that we're laboring intensely.
They don't appreciate or value
they don't
that.
So, I mean, I
we
love
make
the
it look
glass
easy.
jar of grits.
Yeah, the
because
beautiful
it's transparent.
Right? Yeah, it's transparent. You can see the grits. But the whole thing about how there's a video online that you're going to share the link and the recorded version.
We are. So those of you who are joining us Facebook, I'll put it later.
But you can look it up, polenta under glass, and this chef talks about what goes into the polenta, and I display that in my talk, and it's the perfect setup because he makes every ingredient sound expensive, and he justifies the value of the services. We need to do the same thing. I find the right apps for you. I understand your processes. I support your team. I teach you how to read financials. I groom your replacement if you're looking to grow out of the business. This is all part of the service that I deliver, not just a balanced set of books.
So what about the white glove service? So the white glove
So
service
that's
that you
the
were
white glove
sharing.
service. It's the hardest thing to do is to take the time to reach out to the client. And when we're in heads down bookkeeping mode, just talking to them, asking different questions, really understanding the nuts and bolts of what they do. And it's a unique benefit that I have because we're focused on an industry. And so I think the niche or niche, as y'all Canadians would say, focus gives you the ability to go deeper and to really understand how to provide white glove. So I'm spending time consulting with vendors that these people work with and trying to address these problems that drive them crazy. Nobody else is doing that.
So proactive.
Proactive advice,
Yeah.
asking questions, listening more than the talking part, listening more and talking less. That's how it starts. But doing what you say you will do. You know, that sounds basic, but that's hard sometimes.
I have to say, your message truly resonated with me today. I really appreciated that you shared it. I'm
Thank
always
you.
thankful to be able to hear you.
You guys are so sweet.
It
It's always
truly
a
was.
joy.
The
Thank
same here. We all need to hear this over and over again,
We do.
right? And be reminded why we're doing what we're doing. And to
even
stay
if we know it, being reminded.
Yes.
And it's also that the people who are listening in, the people who are at this conference, we are the cream of the crop. There's 8 million people out there who aren't going to anything, aren't learning anything, aren't trying to get better. We are. We're the creamy grits, y'all.
I know,
We're the
exactly.
creamy
We're the
grits.
polenta.
We're the butter grits with cheese. And the rest of the people are the instant grits. They're not even learning any of this stuff. We're working on our businesses to try to make more value for our client. And so we have a huge opportunity to capitalize on that unique expertise that we provide.
So most everybody knows you, Geni Whitehouse. But those who don't, go ahead and tell you. You're talking about specializing. What is your specialty?
Wine. We specialize in wine. I work with a CPA firm in the Napa Valley, a great firm that developed this specialty. I just fell into it with them. And I get to work with wineries all the time. And you got to count something. It might as well be wine.
And then you have this new group. Do you want to share about your group that you were talking about on stage?
We have a video
Yes, okay,
opportunity. So one of the things that you have to do if you have a unique service delivery is get the word out so that you separate yourself from the instant grits folks who are just doing the cheapest, fastest service. And there is a video app that we have that creates a support group for creating video. So he calls it the Toastmasters of Video. So if you want to get into creating a video message, this is a stress-free way to get it done. He's going to support you monthly to make those videos go live. So I'm going to try it.
That sounds amazing.
I'm in.
too.
You guys are video pros. You kidding me? You got this
Remember
down.
that message that we were just talking about,
Yeah.
hearing it over and over?
And
actually
never stop
matters?
learning. Yeah.
And you,
But-
even whenever you're at a conference like this and you feel like you're
Yeah.
the best of the best, and you hear somebody else, you go, oh, duh.
We can, I never feel like I'm the best of the best.
Well,
But I think there's always somebody better that we can always learn from. But I
I
also think watching other people struggle is one of the best ways to learn yourself. I learned that from coaching TEDx talks to see how, you can tweak other people. It really helps you improve yourself. So it's a great way for both to learn and to get your own video done.
well, thank you for sharing that community.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Geni,
It's
thank you
always
so
fun.
much for coming on the Appy
Thank you
Hour.
for all that
Oh
you
my
all
gosh,
do.
we're so honored
Oh,
that
the
you're
honor's
spending-
in the other
oh my gosh.
direction.
Yeah.
Thrilled,
I love
honored.
it. I'm looking for my cocktail, y'all.
Okay, so are you joining us at 6 tonight? At the
6
bar?
o'clock.
Well, now that I know about it,
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna
6
be
o'clock.
there.
We're
So
gonna be
I'm gonna
doing
put
a
grits
bar
on the
at
rim of
6
my
o'clock.
glass.
Okay, and
Yes.
we'll bring you a shot glass.
Okay.
We will.
All
All
We
right.
have a quick Appy hour, so at the
Yes.
Appy hour,
We have
and we will be hand delivering.
Our fan club.
we have Don Patopoulos just stopped by.
Yes, he
So-
does. Thank you, my boys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, oh, I'm gonna steal your microphone.
Save me a hug when I
Hold the
can
whole
reach you,
camera.
Geni. Save me a hug for when I can reach you.
Thank you. We'll see you at the bar, y'all. Oh, I'm so glad that Geni was able to join
Oh
us.
my gosh, me too. That was so
Okay.
special.
And guess who's coming up?
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite people of
I
all
know.
time.
Okay, all right. So she's also wearing black.
She is.
She's
We're
also
all-
just
yeah,
going to be a
we're
talking
just
head.
floating heads.
But
yeah.
here she comes, the one and only
thank-
Annie Terry.
Terry.
Oh, thank you for having. That's for you. Okay, should I clip this right here?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
All right.
perfect.
All right.
And you're going to be a talking head just like us.
Yes.
Oh,
So should we move our heads back and forth?
That's amazing. We are just like floating.
We are.
We're floating.
It reminds me of the green screen.
Yes,
Yes,
it does.
yes.
Oh, that would be amazing. We could be anywhere we wanted to be right now.
We could.
Okay, so whenever we were in London,
Yeah.
I went over and I spent the day at the Harry Potter world.
Right.
And so one of
Oh.
the things that they did was they were showing how to make the cloak of invisibility,
Oh wow.
and they were saying it was green screen. I mean, that's what it is. It's a green
Oh,
cloak
that makes sense.
that's silky, and so it disappears. whenever
So wait a minute, like, so the cloak of invisibility is like a real thing.
I know.
Oh my gosh, it's mind blowing. That is so mind. Oh my gosh, that is mind blowing. And I want one.
I do too. How amazing would that be? Like you're like, oh, someone asks you to do something, you're just like, I'm no longer here. I can't take out the trash.
There's some of those fails where they were talking about that, the weather people who wear the green dresses, and like all of a sudden they're like, how did they disappear?
Yes.
Okay. So we want to ask you some questions.
Okay.
And we want to also, one of the questions that we want to ask you is, what is your role with Intuit? So some people like us know you so well. Whenever app partners coming up, they hug you and they love you. But the rest of the pro advisor world may not know exactly what your role is and
Right.
what you're doing for us.
Wow.
So share that.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Annie. I've been with Intuit for a long time, like 12 years. And so I have kind of one role that I'm doing now and one role that starts in about 5 weeks, when we start over our new fiscal year. So my current role, and which will persist, is helping new to the platform applications like gain success. So applications, they spend a ton of time developing with us. They go through our documentation, they build with us, they publish on apps.com, and they think magic is going to happen. And it just doesn't happen for them always. Some apps, we see, rise really quickly. For the majority of them, it just doesn't. And so I am kind of their first entrance into, you've published, now what? And so I am going to be, I spend the first year with a lot of applications, helping them kind of navigate the ecosystem, understand the value of people like you and this whole amazing accountant ecosystem, and understand yep, if you publish on apps.com, it's just not enough. Like, you need to understand how to connect with accountants, how to connect with pro advisors, all the different channels that exist, happy hour, like Engage, go hang out on QB chat. So I'm kind of there.
Chat's great. It is.
Awesome.
Those are our buds.
Yeah.
Silly. We support them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And QBO show too. They have an amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. There's all these kind of pockets, and it's impossible when you just published and you just kind of crossed the turtle and you're like, you just don't know. So that's kind of my role. It's helping developers their first year of life on the platform.
And, one of the things that I've, whenever I'm talking to some of the app partners, one of the things that they've shared that you've done is you've helped them to structure their message. So if you think about our app buds are really like us, they're specialized in their industry, and they're really good about talking about the thing that they know. But whenever it comes to talking to a group other than another developer, sometimes they struggle in those conversations. So I think what's interesting is the more that you get to know them, the more that you know they have their own group language.
Absolutely.
But they're like us. They're process thinking. They're people who want to solve issues. They're people who are innovative. But sometimes they have a hard time getting in front of people and sharing the message.
Well, and they have a different, like you said, they have a different language.
They do,
Right.
do have a different language. That's a great point.
Yeah.
They do.
And so one of the things that they said that you've done that's so valuable is to say, who are you?
Right.
So not only what have you created, but who do you want the accounting community to know that you are?
Yeah, I think that's something that we all struggle with. We all want to be everything to everyone, and you think, yes, my app does everything. And the reality is, you may be entering a space that there are 10 other applications. And the cool thing is, if you can determine what specific space you play in, it helps everyone. It helps customers who are coming in understand, if that app is right for them. It helps accountants understand when they recommend one over another. So I always use the locate example, and I know they're close to your heart too.
They are. Inventory, who knew it could be so fun?
It's so fun. And the locate team is so fun.
They are.
They
They're,
make it fun.
They do.
But they're
do.
the great example of understanding exactly who their customer is, so they know what level of inventory items is when you should move to locate. And anything below that, they actually are such a great player in the ecosystem. They'll send leads downstream.
I love that.
I love that too.
It's a collaborative community, and they have embraced that.
absolutely. But I think that was really born out of a lot of your work. I believe that has been born out of the accountants working together. We haven't always seen that between developers, and I think that has happened in the last couple of years with the relationships that our app partners are developing with accountants, and seeing how you guys all collaborate, being like, oh, this is better together. It's actually a better thing when we work together.
It is. And I mean, Liz and I had the honor of going to the hackathon in London and working with app developers as mentors from the accounting lens, right? And what an amazing experience. And I wish
Unveiling. I mean, it's like my perspective changed working that closely with them.
it did. And I think some of the takeaways as an accounting professional was that our brains work very much the same way. And it's really a communication barrier. And once you can kind of cross that, the magic that a developer and accounting professional can build together is amazing.
I think that blew us away too on the developer team. I think we lean so heavy into these applications, and I think that moment of having you both and Brad and Andrew and sitting down with developers, one of the biggest learnings for us was developers build amazing applications, but until you connect developers with accountants, it's never going to be right for the customer, because they have to also understand how does their application work with QuickBooks and how is the data passed properly, and they need accountants. So that's kind of what brings me to my second job, which will be launching soon, which I'm really excited about, is how do we better connect accountants to app partners earlier? So we did this test in London.
I just got chills.
The last year was a series of tests. So the London Hackathon, right? We brought in these 4 amazing mentors, and I think we learned the value of accountants starting early in application development, but even more so looking at, as we look towards going up into the mid-market, how do accountants help developers that exist on the platform today rise to the occasion to customers that have larger workflows, bigger levels of inventory, more customers. And I think we're not quite sure how to get there, but we know you guys do. So it's going to be.
It's a collaborative thing.
It is.
It excites me.
Yes.
It really does. I love the communication. I truly believe in the idea of better together.
Me
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's so true. That's why we're at this conference. That's why the people who are watching right now and they're joining us, we're so much better together. We learn from each other. We grow from each other.
Absolutely.
It is. I know. I get chills, and I was like, it was kind of like they were laying out what was going to happen. I was like, I want to do that. I get this. I totally, and we spent the last, and it is exactly what it's going to take these applications to the next level. So I'm really grateful, and I'm insanely excited.
And I am so excited for you, and I'm excited for us.
Yes.
And I'm excited for our whole community.
Me too.
Because to have you in that role is just, we're so lucky. We're so lucky.
I would say the flip. I mean, I think the people in this room and our ecosystem of 650 applications and the new ones coming on are so lucky to have the accountants. And it's something that it's going to be a lot of work. I mean, we haven't figured it out. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I am so excited. And I'm excited to partner with Happy Hour and, us figure this out together. Yes, exactly.
We are truly, truly, truly grateful and want to help us in any way that we can.
In any way we can.
Yeah.
I mean, it is this community.
It is.
That cares about each other.
That's what we're about is connecting this community.
I want to also say one of the things that you've done to connect this community together is those who the laptop or video cameras turned this way, that if it was turned the other way, what you would see here at Scaling New Heights is we're on a carpet that's Intuit's playground is what I want to call it. So the Intuit playground has got a whole bunch of Intuit employees that are telling you all the different areas and maybe that you've got questions. But then we've also got our partners that are here. Yes. And so you're bringing the partners here to be able to put them in front of us so that way we can ask our questions.
Absolutely. So this year we're showcasing 9 kind of new to the platform applications. Everything, some you've seen at App Showdown at QBC last year. Our winner Give, Regis from Give, and then some new faces. So old names like A2X, but they're unveiling a brand new product. So they've recently launched their integration with Shopify, which is just kind of we're just so insanely excited about. So yeah, it's been really, it's really exciting. These guys are smaller. They may not have the opportunity to buy a $10,000 booth, but the fact that we can bring them in and we can bring them into part of the QuickBooks ecosystem and give them just like a foot in the door and an introduction to this amazing ecosystem has been really valuable.
And we want to talk to them. So to be able to have the opportunity to talk to some of these apps that don't have that funding to be able to be here, we need them.
Well, but
so
I
thank
think,
you for putting them here.
good. And I think this is the magic, right? If we can give them like just a little foot in the door, they meet the accountants recommend them. It's the whole flywheel. And so then next year, they will be the guys with the big booth on the floor. So and we've seen that. So it's pretty spectacular.
It's kind of like when, we start out in our practices, we're kind of young and don't really have a whole lot of backing and understanding of all of how it works, but being able to have somebody who's a mentor to come in to be able to help you, that's exactly what I see happening.
And I guess that's what I want to happen in the next year is how do we activate accountants and help you figure out what are the right applications to recommend to your clients? And you guys do this so well. I think we need to learn from pros like you and both of you and helping accountants understand and also understanding which applications are right for the right customer. We could do a lot better with that.
Well, it's an evolving market. I mean, so that's part of it. Is that you're evolving as the market is evolving. And so that means that you're never solid in what your plan is. You have to actually adopt.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that we have to be in this new world is fluid, flexible is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So we're thinking the same thing.
Share a brain, you know that, Liz.
Yeah, but you've got to be able to move with it.
Yeah.
It's like, did you say the wave? Were you talking about the wave?
Somebody actually mentioned the wave yesterday during the main stage. They were talking about staying ahead of the wave, right?
Being part of the wave.
Yeah.
Ahead of the wave, part of the wave. Just don't get behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the whole point is let's be in it.
Let's be in it. Be part of the conversation. Be part of this transition of our industry.
It truly is fun. And I am a firm believer there's enough work out there for everybody.
There is.
And so that's one of the things I think that whenever these apps come into our market, they're so surprised on the way that we will say, okay, well, we're not the right person for that. But our bud over here, Geni Whitehouse, will deal with all of your winery needs. There's somebody for that. Ingrid, whenever we're talking about travel, she's the person for that. There's these co-advisors who specialize in these areas.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what's special about all the different applications. We just have to do a better job exposing what they're best at and working closely with them. So I'm excited. It's going to be a big year.
They learn too as they go along. There's a little bit of an unveiling that happens with our app buds.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, you mean tomorrow? Or next week? I feel like I've evolved several times.
Well, and coming to these things where they come in and they're like, this is what we do. And accountants are like, you really should do this. And then the next time you see them, they're like, so now this is what we do. They do, as long as you're open to learning and growing, I think that's where you find success.
I think that that's where some of our valuable app partners have came into play, is that they've actually listened to us and they've responded to us. So more reporting. They're one of the ones out there that has actually really adopted and they've listened to the market and they keep on polling us and they keep on adding things in order to be able to make sure that we're getting what we need. They're an example of that.
Yeah, PayPal is one in our booth. They were with us at QuickBooks Connect as one of the top 10 app showdowns. And they got so much awesome feedback at QuickBooks Connect. They kind of retransitioned. And so now they're back at scaling new heights based on the feedback from, accountants, which is just remarkable. So exactly how it should work.
We're thrilled that they're here.
We are.
Yes. Well, Annie,
thank
you
you for having me, as always.
For being with us.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing with the community what it is that you do.
Yes.
Because it's truly valuable.
Right.
Yes.
And I think we have some things have shown up here. Did we want to share those? Are we doing that later?
Let's do that now.
Yeah, I was thinking we'd do it now.
Okay, let's do that now.
Okay.
I'm gonna lean across.
No, yeah. Grab it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So
Oh my gosh.
these came in last night, and I did an unveiling, and it's the first ever happy hour shot glasses.
Cheers! I love it.
So much.
Oh, thank
you. I will use this tonight. Happy hour, happy hour.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Heather.
Pass this to you.
Thank you so much, Annie.
Love you too.
Yes. All right, come on over. So, Heather, I'm going to let you do some of the introduction here as to what's happening.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I feel like a news reporter that has their papers in front of them. It's like, this is what it looks like. Okay, yeah, so bring a chair on in. Let's make sure that we can all see everybody. Is everybody fitting in? Okay, all right, I'm going to pass this.
Which one doesn't look like the other?
And this is going just to share back and forth
wonderful.
with each other.
Okay, great.
So,
Thank you.
So,
Oh, you don't
So-
want to do that.
so hi, Jen. Hi, Sean. Oh my God, big waters.
It's
Thank
fine.
you, Nick.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
some water, so I
We
guess
do. So cheers. We're going to toast with our water.
Thank you, ladies.
There's not a clink, there's
A clink.
That's what the shot glasses are for.
We're going to pretend.
a.
So I took Jennifer Diamond's, I took her her improvisation class yesterday. Did you guys make it to that?
Didn't make that one.
And
I would
so
love
we
to,
were
though.
imagining, and so we could imagine the clink.
Oh,
Envision
okay.
it.
All right.
Imagine the clink. So absolutely.
Okay, so Heather, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share something, and then I'm going to pass it to you.
Okay.
But this is what I'm going to share. So what I'm going to share is payroll in our firm is not a specialty. We have lots of it that we do, but that is not the area that we focus in. So when Heather said to me that she was super excited about ADP payroll, I was like, well, let's see what you're so excited about. And then Heather started like sharing all of these different pieces that she was so excited about.
I did.
And that actually was infectious.
Right.
So you shared that excitement. And ADP did this really interesting thing. So instead of coming on and sharing from the app developer side or their sales side, they decided it would make sense to have some pro advisors who are using it share their perspective. And I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm
No,
going
I
to
love
pass it to
too.
Heather because
Definitely.
you've been working with ADP.
I have, absolutely. They're great partners. I'm super excited about their Accountant Connect product. I love their general ledger interface with QuickBooks Online. And I'm so excited to have you both on the Happy Hour. And I
Happy to
just,
be here.
yeah, super excited. So Jennifer, can you just introduce yourself? Jennifer, you're Jennifer Brazer.
Yes, absolutely. Jennifer Brazer with Complete Controller. And we are an outsourced CAS department. So we serve CPAs all across the nation that maybe don't have a CAS department or they're not really happy with the way theirs is performing. And then we also serve direct to client. So
Awesome.
yeah, and we also don't want to do payroll in-house. That
Right,
is
okay.
actually a big part of the business plan is how can we serve our clients with as little risk on our shoulders as possible, and payroll and tax prep and audit and those types of things carry a risk that we're not interested in.
Exactly.
And I've heard from other accounting professionals too. So my firm does not provide client services, well, accounting services per se. I do integrations and implementation consulting, but I've worked with an accounting firm since the 90s so a really long time. And payroll services are not typically super profitable if you don't have great processes. So, so we'll talk about that for sure. Yeah. So trying to find a model that makes a profitable firm can be a challenge. So,
Yeah,
I'd love.
and with all that risk, right? You want to be making some money.
Totally.
And it's really perfect working with ADP because they have a revenue share program,
Right.
which is fabulous for accountants that, we're established, we have the client already, we're going to be managing those clients anyway. And so we can then put that risk onto them and get paid anyway, which,
I'm all
I
for
mean, that
Yes.
works, right?
Absolutely. And Sean, thank you for joining us. Could you just
Thank
take
you.
a second and introduce yourself?
I'm not good at only a second of speaking, so I so brace yourself.
All right.
So, okay,
as
so
much time as you need.
My name's Sean Duncan. I own SMD Consulting and Accounting, and actually we do things a little bit different. We've always focused on the consulting and the high value that we can add to clients, and not the compliance work. And payroll in particular, you're right. It's a low margin, it's low appreciation level. You are strapped to your desk. If payroll is due every single week for your restaurant client, then you're got to be there every single week. And we focused on the higher value. That's really where we're going. And in fact, actually, we're taking it a step further, and we're trying to actually, Woodard embodies a lot of what we're doing here, is we're trying to break the industry a bit. We actually 2 years ago, we were the largest firm in our town. We were blowing and going, adding hundreds of clients all the time. And then we fired all of our tax returns. We focus now only on the accounting services and the consulting. There are too many CPAs out there that are brilliant. There's amazing, brilliant people out here that are strapped down to doing their payroll and doing the tax returns, and they don't have the ability or time to do the advice. So we've just focused on the advice. We focus on how do we actually add real value. And that comes with not only knowing what we know and doing what we do, it's partnering. It's partnering with ADP. It's partnering with other CPAs. We want to be great at what we're great at and let other people be great at what they're great at. And ADP's, they got this thing buckled down. I mean, they know what the heck they're doing. So why would I attempt to compete with a global company that has this all figured out? And then once we started to partner up, and you mentioned a phenomenal thing, the revenue share, we were already sending leads anyways. We knew that our go-to girl was going to take care of it. And I mentioned my go-to girl. We have a rep, her name's Bree Compton. I brag about her all the time. We basically just say, we stick Bree on it, and I never have to think about it again. That relationship is so powerful. Yeah, everybody needs a Bree. We focus on, we're going to do the great things, but then we're going to bring in those partners that can do great things also. And so we've just specialized. We specialize in what we do. We let ADP do what they do, and it's worked out beautifully. And it's really shifted the way the industry has worked, at least where we're going with the industry, because we see what's happening.
So can you describe your experience? So how did you connect with ADP, and how did you figure out which model to partner with them?
I wish I had some overarching strategic plan. I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to call them. And we met this rep, and you know how they come knocking on every CPA firm's doors. We met this rep, and she was amazing. So we said, all right, we'll try you out. We'll see what happens. I got a local company that says they're really good, that's cheaper. And they just blew our socks off. And so, all right, we'll give you a second one, and then a third one, and then a 40th one, and then a 50th one. And next thing you know, and it hasn't just been Bree. Now, Bree is a freaking superstar, and I would die if she left. But the previous two reps were amazing.
Are you listening, Bree?
Yeah. Bree? Yes, she stays in her position. You give her pay raises. And actually, one of my, and Nick knows this, is one of my personal missions is to make Bree as rich as I possibly can, because she has earned every right. Yeah. We've had phenomenal experience with every rep and every contact that we've had. And so I have the utmost confidence that I can just punt. I am extremely lazy. I don't want to actually do anything. So I want other people to be amazing, whether it's my employees be amazing or ADP be amazing or some other vendor. And it's just started off with a casual relationship. That's really all it was. It was somebody walked in and knocked my socks off. And I said, why would I leave? This just keeps getting better every time we turn around. And Accountant Connect is just another evolution of that.
Right. And, we were talking with Geni earlier, and she was talking about the white glove service and connecting to the customer, keeping the customer at top of mind. And it sounds like the relationship that you're describing with ADP is exactly that relationship.
And there's such a powerful feedback loop. I'm sorry to be hijacked that. We have a feedback loop where Accountant Connect, if I see something I'd like changed, they listen to the suggestion. I mean, they're not just saying, well, this is the tool we got, tough luck. We're suggesting things, and then we see it show up a month later or a week later.
What's Accountant Connect?
I'll let you answer.
Oh,
okay. I have a tendency to hog that.
Thank you. Jennifer here. Actually, Accountant Connect is a great innovation. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited about it. My staff is excited about it. And it's hard to get my staff excited about something because here's this new thing that you have to do now. And we're going to interface here. And this is what it looks like. And the process is going to change. And they're like, wait a minute, Jennifer, I'm supposed to be efficient. What are you doing to me? So we bring this in and we actually, the cool thing about ADP is they are always collaborating with the accountants. And so they're asking us, hey, will you look at it? Will you try it? Will you give us feedback? And so we did. And overwhelmingly, the feedback was, oh my goodness, we need everyone to get training on this right away. It was saving time. It really takes all of your clients that are in the Workforce Now or the Run ADP. It puts them all into the same portal. And then it lets you manage the permissions So we have a hierarchy in our company where, you know, we have top level and then we have controllers, and then the controllers manage and oversee and support the bookkeepers who manage, oversee, and support the clients, right? And so we want to make sure that the controllers are able to really quickly see and delegate permissions to various bookkeepers if they're moving a client over from one place to another. Totally makes that seamless. And then there is the chart of accounts import too.
The general ledger tool. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Lifesaver.
Oh, it is fabulous. So it used to be manual. You know, you had to like connect, oh, this is going to go here, you know, and then you import the paycheck, and then somebody did something different. They named it different. They added a T or a dot
Or an
you
S.
know, yes. And the next thing you know, you have something on your chart of accounts. You have no idea where it came from, you know. And so now what's happening is we can import directly, and it's talking to each other, and it's fast, and it knows exactly what to do. So it's intuitive, kind of
It
like,
is.
you know,
And-
QuickBooks.
And I love, Jennifer, the flexibility that you have with it, the ability that you can map your chart of accounts at the employee level. You can map the chart of accounts at the department level. So depending on how you want to see the reports in your accounting system, you have complete flexibility to make sure that the import, which is completely seamless, is coming in exactly right, which is for, as an accountant, is crucial, right?
They're also introducing a lot more metrics and information that gives us insight to changes the clients are having. You know, how many times have we had a client set up an employee in a state and we didn't know that happened? Well, we can't proactively bug them because we don't even know what's happening. Now the ADP is triggering that. They're sending in notifications that, hey, did you know your employee is now in Jersey and you're in Texas? I had a client set up 11 different states last month and didn't tell us that he set up 11 different states.
Wow.
That's amazing. That is
To catch that stuff before it becomes a penalty, kind of important.
kind of important.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna say, when you said that you were kind of lazy, I'm still stuck there, and I
Okay.
want to tell you, I don't see that. I think the thing that you're doing is you're making and structuring really good decisions and putting people in the right spots, using the right tools. That's actually creating a good structure. That means that you are actually managing. You're not doing as much, which is the direction that truly a lot of us need to be moving towards. That is the focus. That if you're trying to do everything, what's going to happen? You know, where
You talk about risk. I mean, you are the risk at that point. And that's where a lot of the consulting comes from. We can teach that to other business owners too. I like to take vacations. Actually, my first job's husband and dad. That's my job. I happen to run this company that's growing. So how do I make sure that this company, that's the second obligation, albeit very, very important, doesn't interfere with my primary obligation? And when tax season starts to take over and you don't see your kids going horseback riding or whatever that might be, I'm building a firm that has longevity selfishly for me, so I can be lazy and play with my kids and play video games or whatever I'm going to do, but then also do it in a way that allows my employees to have that same lifestyle. That's the harder part. And again, partnerships. Do I want my employees grinding out payroll reports every week because that's what has to happen just so I can make an extra buck per hour, or free them up for smarter work and let the gurus, ADP, and I'm pointing at Nick. Nick is right there. Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Nick.
He's wearing the ADP shirt. Yeah. Hi, Nick. So anyway, that's why I keep pointing that way.
Right.
But it's just been a powerful relationship for scaling the vision that we have for our firm. And I always put it in the trappings that I'm really lazy, but I'm working really hard to get to the point to where lazy is just the ordinary course of business.
I love that.
I think smart.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing with our community your smarts.
Right.
Thank you for sharing what you're doing. That's
Absolutely.
valuable to be able to
No, it
learn
is. It
and grow
is.
from each other.
We were talking about with the Accountant Connect, just to get back to the Accountant Connect product for a minute, we were talking about the general ledger, which has the sync with your accounting software. We've talked about how it makes running payroll easier, but there's a lot more to Accountant Connect.
Like a jazz hand.
No, I don't know. But I want to just point out that there's a couple of features that I really love. Like there's the calculators. So when you have that employee that they write the check for $2,000 because their employee needs it, and they're like, I just wrote this check for $2,000, and you have to go and figure out what's the gross up for that, right? So they have calculators in there, and then they have a compensation benchmarking tool that is like
benchmarking.
crazy amazing.
Oh my God.
That's its own consulting
Yes.
project right there.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're talking about, being advisory, bringing more to the client, adding value. Well, you're not adding value when you're inputting payroll. Like the client doesn't know how long it takes you to input payroll. That's why they send it to you at 7 o'clock on a Friday night and want paychecks on Monday. You know, they don't care that you're on vacation. They don't care about all that. What they care about is the value that you bring. So when they're looking to hire someone, and usually, you know, I'm dealing with small businesses, right? So these guys don't know exactly what everyone's getting paid across the board or even what their competitors are doing. So if they're looking to hire someone, the number one worst mistake they can make is to overpay.
Right.
Or what about underpaying, right? And then you get
That's a big one.
someone who's maybe not so great and you're not competitive in the market and, you know, but you don't even know it because you're a small business. With a benchmarking tool, answers the question for you. And it's data that's actually real across the nation because ADP is so prolific.
Okay, so I have to say, the more and more I'm hearing, the more excited I am truly about the new Account Connect. So being able to have that tool for us and what you're doing with it. So you're using as a true department. So I want to say thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the Appy Hour.
Absolutely. Thank you
And
for having us.
I want to say again, if you want to tell your name, so that way there probably will be some people who might reach out and say,
Absolutely.
feel
Jennifer
free.
Brazer, complete controller.
complete
And
controller.
Sean Duncan, SMD Consulting and Accounting. And we were actually just both talking about it. We're both open books. If you want to pick our brains on why we're doing what we're doing, how we're doing, ask. There is no competition here. There's too much opportunity to help people out. And whether it's CPA firms or other clients, we both just discussed that. We're open books.
Absolutely.
I
We're
love
ready
that.
to give it away.
Yes. Thank you
Sharing
so
with
much.
us. We really appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
Fantastic.
Oh, that was amazing.
Okay, and so we have one of the showdown finalists joining us. So Penny Inc. is joining us. They were one of the showdown finalists. I'm going to hand this to you. That is your lapel mic. And do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello.
You can put it on if you want to.
He is also, I just want to point out that he is also a floating head.
This has happened. We thought that this would be this beautiful backdrop. To be
Oh,
able
because
to,
I
like,
have the black
beautiful.
on
It
too,
just-
right?
Yes,
The heads. We're talking heads. All right. So my name is Keith Anderson, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Penny Inc. And thank you so much, first of all, for having us on and interviewing us. I guess I wanted to just launch into explaining a little bit about Penny. And the easiest way is to kind of talk about travel, because most people have travel as part of their business needs throughout, the course of the year. So as we travel, traditionally you have to keep track of all your expenses and receipts. So what we've done is we've made a very elegant, simple way to track all of our expenses for an individual or for a company, and load it up to an elegant dashboard, and it gives you real-time ability to see the transactions. Okay, so for instance, you create another account. Okay, and if I'm going to take you out to lunch today, as soon as I do, we have a phone app as well. It sends me a text message that says, take a picture of the receipt. And when I take a picture of the receipt, then it loads up, and I do a couple of simple codes like sales conference, Salt Lake, and then meal or entertainment. That then goes right up into the transaction. And if you do sync or use QuickBooks, it actually pushes it to QuickBooks. And this is in real time. If somebody wants to see it,
real time. We love it in our real time.
so you don't have to wait till the end of the month for a statement or anything like that. It comes through in real time. The users like it because they're not using their own money. They're able to use the company's money. Companies like it because they can track expenses much more. They know that employees are spending it on what they're supposed to. There's also ability even within cards to set restrictions. So maybe the best way to explain.
I was just going to ask you that. You read my mind.
Yeah, so maybe one of the best ways is to use like an example of one of our case studies. We have a nonprofit that they raise money for homeless people, okay? And they actually create a profile for that homeless person. And so donors can actually donate in general, or they can donate to a specific homeless person that's trying to better themselves. But what we're able to do for them as well is allow them to buy food, buy clothing, but they're not able to buy alcohol. And so it's a restriction. So it allows them. So we have another company that is a driving company. They have drivers that they're trying to give cards to. And instead of giving their own personal company credit cards that might get lost or stolen, which then helps prevent fraud, they can limit them to only being able to buy at gas stations, et cetera, like that. So however you want to kind of structure it, yeah. And
So how does it come into QuickBooks?
QuickBooks is just a simple integration. You know, when you on one of the screens or tabs, it just basically says if you want to integrate, and you literally you click on it, and then it just takes you to your login page at QuickBooks. You log in, and once you're logged in there, it just syncs about every 5 minutes, so it's in real time. So it saves a lot of. We call, you know, one of our taglines is make expenses less expensive, and that's because we're removing a lot of the manual entry, uh, like also if you travel, or I've been in sales most of my life, you know, expense reports are like nobody likes them. They're the worst. So now when I travel, once I take that picture of that receipt, I'm able to throw the receipt away because it's always in not only in our transaction register, but then to QuickBooks.
In QuickBooks,
there.
right?
So you gave it an example of the travel industry, but what
Sure.
about our service trades? How are you helping that market?
Excellent. So we do a lot in construction and construction remediation, where they'll go in after, like I live in California, Northern California, where we've had a lot of the fires. So there's a lot of companies that come in, and it's all insurance money, and they're going to be doing major remodels, maybe spending $10,000 a week. Well, the project manager is able to get a card as well as any supervisors that he wants, so that it gets put onto the card at the beginning of the week because they've already know what the insurance claim is, and then they're able to manage and monitor exactly what part is going to, this is going to drywall, this is going to for paint, etc. And not only is it tracking for the project manager and the supervisor on the phone app, but any of the admins that want to have access to it. And it's a cloud-based app. So any time that you have access, either from your phone, computer, or iPad, laptop, or tablet, you can access your dashboard.
So one of the things that we hear as accountants, that yes, we're traveling, yes, our clients travel, yes, they're always mobile. A lot of our business owners are
Yeah.
truly mobile.
Definitely.
Yes.
But the other thing is then they want to have these controls for all of their stuff.
They do have to have the controls. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's invaluable. So one of the things, I mean, like you were talking about make expense less expensive.
Right.
And one of the things that I hear in that is safeguards.
Sure.
Those internal controls.
Yes,
There's
definitely.
internal
Yes.
controls.
Internal controls.
There's the ability, you eliminate any of the manual reimbursement processes, which is actually on both sides. So as like if you're a salesperson or whatever, or somebody that's out in the field, not only do I have to spend time creating and tracking those expense reports, but then somebody on the other side has to spend all that time verifying that the receipt was correct and that they uploaded it right. It's a lot of wasted time that now is just eliminated with this. Because for instance, my company, when I go on a trip like this to Salt Lake for Scaling New Heights, they know I'm coming here. They know I'm going to have hotel expenses. They know I'm going to have food. They know I'm going to have Uber, etc. So that's all pre-approved. They kind of calculate a per diem and they put that much on my card. Now, the nice thing is, let's say it's, you know, I'm here through Thursday, the conference ends tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's say I run out of money
You were just
tomorrow.
getting ready to answer my question.
Great.
So
Now-
not only
yeah.
you run out of money because now you've spent it over a longer period of time, but what if like the actual transaction? So you have some controls.
They have some control. So then I can then through my phone, if I try to, if I know I'm getting ready to take you ladies out to dinner tonight and I need to, and I'm like, oh, I only have $30 in the account.
I heard that, by the
Yes.
way.
Yeah. Yes. I can actually through the phone make a request and say, I need another $200. And I can have a little code that says, to take these ladies out to dinner or, for meals or whatever. And then the admin gets it gets an email, and through, if they're in the app, they see it and they can go in and just approve it. And when they do, that money then is just put onto that card instantly. Or they can go, wait a second, you don't need 200, you only need 100, and they can reapprove that, or they can reject the whole thing. If they say, nope, you just spent too much, stay in tonight.
And all in real time.
It's all in real time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's innovative,
It's super innovative.
and we need
Yeah.
that for our clients.
We do. We do.
So how user friendly is it?
It's extremely user friendly. Everything happens intuitively. Both. You can now do it either through the dashboard that's cloud based, or you can do. We have the driver app used to only be, or the employee app used to only be, but now we have, when you first log in, if you are an admin, you log in as an admin, and so you have the exact same views. So you You can activate cards, you can deactivate cards, you can put money on the cards, you can do anything you want on the go.
It's completely mobile.
It's completely mobile.
It is.
Actually, most of our, I would say 90% of our companies and admins are using it either with a phone or with a tablet, usually
Right.
on the road.
Do with the expenses, you're capturing the receipt. Does the expenses get pushed through? The receipts get pushed through to QuickBooks as well?
They do.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's
awesome.
it's tied. That's
Yeah.
why they can get rid of it.
That's
And you
awesome.
can go in there and either from our dashboard or from QuickBooks, if you needed it or during an
Mhm.
audit, you can print them out.
That's huge.
They're just right there. And it's because you're now using the modern phones and camera. I mean, the clarity of the is super clear. It's not like a receipt that's been in my wallet that's getting smushed so that at the end of the day, you're like, what? What was that amount?
So it's all tied together. So which user used it? So who spent the money?
Right.
Where did they spend the money? And an image of the money, and it's being pushed to QuickBooks. I mean,
And with the categories
Just
that
doing
you
the
want.
jazz hands again.
Yay! I love that. Now, the even better part, it gets better.
and there's more.
And there's more, is that it's a free service. We do not charge to activate an account. We don't charge to order cards. There's no fees tied to it. We make money on the interchange. So when the users go and spend money, if I go to Starbucks and buy a cup of coffee, Starbucks is, of course, paying MasterCard a 3% or so fee in order to receive credit cards. So then MasterCard takes their piece, the bank takes their piece, and then we take our piece, and it's a little less than a penny, which is why we call it penny ink. So we make about a penny on every dollar that's spent. So we see ourselves more as partners with your clients and with the clients that we have, because we're not charging them. We're just trying to make it easier and simple, give them all this value added stuff so that they'll start spending more and more through this dashboard, so that they have the visibility, they have the controls, they have all the things that they're looking for right now, and a lot of fraud protection as well. You're not.
So I'm gonna turn this way. I'm gonna say, did you know it was free?
I didn't know it was free, and I was thinking there, going, I had to get my brain around. My brain is still kind of free.
Free. It's free.
Amazing.
Can't get any better than free.
No.
So yeah.
So we have a really exciting announcement for tonight.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness! Did you hear the new thing that they even added?
No.
Once you do that,
Okay. Here it goes.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna say it
All
slow.
right.
Okay.
Because it's that good.
Oh my gosh. All right. I can't wait.
down the road.
All right. So
I'm preparing myself here.
okay. All right. So
See,
right
you don't
right
know, yeah.
right now we're in the conference hall, and so we're on the white carpet of Intuit. It's really plushy carpet, by the way. So we're on the plushy carpet of Intuit, and I was talking to Penny Inc. because they're doing an event with us tonight. So QuickBooks Appy Hour or QB Appy Hour is going to be having a nightcap over at the Marriott Destinations Lounge. And so at 6 o'clock. And so the thing that Penny said is, we want to join you there, and we want to give the first 50 people to attend a drink card.
I know.
A free drink card. So
Free drink
you
card.
just show up, and all we need to do is be able to. We just need your name and an email to register the card in our system, and then we will hand you the
And
card.
then you can see it. So you're going to get the full user experience.
You're gonna
Okay.
get your own MasterCard.
MasterCard.
Look at that.
Okay. All right. So can I hold it?
Yeah. That one does have money on it. As
Okay.
well.
All right. I
Exactly.
won't keep. Do you want to hold it too? Okay. All right. So you hold the. Woo. Okay. So I'm gonna tell. This is the extra thing that was just added on. This is like the frosting. So they said they wanted to do an extra layer of awesome by saying the people who are interacting with them, doing some liking, and then they also want following some social media, especially going through the QB apps.
Store.
So going to apps.com, yes, and doing a review.
Liking and reviewing us
Yes,
there.
they need some likes and reviews there. And what they're going to do is give one lucky winner $100 Penny Ink expense card. I know.
It's amazing.
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
you want to share any of
Thank
that?
I mean,
That did put some icing on the cocktail.
I'll give you back your card.
thank
What do
you.
we-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
we're
that's
just
amazing.
excited because we really, the best way to have people see and understand the system is to actually use it. So we want them to
Right.
see that. Now, if they want we're not going to force it, but when you do an email, you will get an email anytime you register on our system to download the phone app, et cetera, so that they could actually
We like phone apps.
experience.
We do.
We're
You
mobile.
could experience that. Then you could take a picture of the receipt and how that all works, because it's super easy and friendly, and just see how quickly. Because I mean, by the time the person's walking back for you to sign your receipt, the message is coming through to take the picture. So it never
Wow.
even hits my wallet. I sign it and I just take the picture right then, nice and clean,
I love
capture it,
that.
and then I can either get rid of the receipt, etc. But
Right.
we're super excited. Please come by for
Yes.
the Appy Hour.
Destination
Marriott, it's
lunch
here.
At
Here
the
in
Marriott.
town.
6 to 7.
6 to 7. We're going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. And thank you so much.
And we've got
A limited
a
number.
limited number
Number.
and a limited edition.
Limited edition,
of
limited
our
number.
Limited
Yes.
first
edition.
ever shot
Shot
glasses.
glass.
Our
Happy hour
shot
swag.
glasses.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you.
Yes.
Oh my
joining
gosh.
us.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much,
We're
Kate.
looking
So
forward to
excited.
seeing
Yeah.
you again later
Yes.
and having
Indeed.
some drinks together.
Yes.
So thank you
And
for joining us.
can I just also give a
I
humongous
was getting ready
thank
to
you?
pull him over.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
So let me pull him
Awesome.
over.
Thank you.
All right.
You're
See-
about to get choked.
Oh
Okay.
man, thank
We
you.
were thinking, I told you, same brain.
I know, same brain.
Same
So
brain.
we're thinking the same thing. So
We are.
we have a production manager.
We do.
We have a production manager who's been over on the side,
And
I
he's
wanna-
also super near and dear to our hearts.
well,
Like,
yeah. So
yeah.
he's traveled around with us all
Right.
over the
Yes.
world. I want to say, I mean, like we've world traveled together.
We have literally
We are
world
travel-
travel.
Okay,
We
I'm
have-
gonna give this to you. That's
Yep.
yours.
California, Ontario, England,
England.
Utah.
Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's in the last year.
It's pretty awesome.
it is.
It's been fun.
It's been really fun.
We are missing you, Andrew Wall,
We are.
but we also want to rub it in a bit. There's free drinks coming up, and yeah, you hear that?
Oh, funny.
So no, that was fun, you guys. That was a lot of fun.
That was, yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun. I mean, watching you guys with some of my favorite people.
No,
That's
they
good.
are. Aren't
They are.
Those are really
Yeah.
some good people.
It was a
They
good
are.
lineup.
I love our community so much.
Absolutely.
So
So happy hour, and yeah, I work for Shot Glasses, and
okay,
and
that is
MasterCard.
yours. That is yours.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
That is
I-
yours.
I want to tell you, I also beforehand, Heather was teaching a class, and so Brad was helping me beforehand set it up. We have this really high-tech prop over here.
It's
that's
called a
from-
garbage can,
called a garbage can. Yes, so you're seeing this beautiful backdrop here.
and
it's
people are
really
using it
gorgeous.
as a garbage
So
can.
every
See,
once
it's
in a while, when you
multi-purpose.
see it shake, it is because it is a multifunctional tool. It is not only a laptop holder with a camera and our video setup and our audio setup, but it is also the trash can. It is the trash can.
High tech, and it's
Right.
multi-purpose, right?
Yes, yes, it is. We are very resourceful. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Seriously.
Will you guys finish up?
Okay.
And
All right. I think
All right.
we'll
I
wanna
want
say
to say
goodbye.
goodbye. Yeah. Go ahead and grab that other.
Okay.
There you go.
we will say
So,
goodbye.
We're going to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for
Yes.
joining us. And we'll see you on Tuesday, next Tuesday, right?
I will.
With House Call Pro.
Yes,
Super
who is
excited.
also here with us.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes, I
Yes.
got a chance to go over and say hello to him.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're excited for that. So we'll see you. We'll see you in a week.
Yes, and
Thanks,
some of
every-
you will see in just a couple of hours.
Yes. Some of you
All
we will
right.
see in just a couple hours.
I'm gonna
So,
leave it this with you, and I'm gonna say bye.
okay. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's about right around